Hello, welcome back to SEO Daily. I'm your host, Andrew Laws. SEO Daily is a part of the Untitled SEO podcast. Today, I am going to talk to you about something that was going to come up sooner or later. Should you block AI from crawling your website? Now, if I've already lost you with crawling, I'm going to give you a very quick explanation of that. Google, Bing, and other search engines send a little fella, or a gender-neutral bit of code to your website that reads it. Then it follows links on it. It's called crawling. It's just gathering information, and then it will find a link to somebody else's website and go shooting off down that, also known as the spider. Now, some people have been blocking bots, these kind of crawlers, from their websites for a number of reasons. Some people even block the Google crawler, which means Google won't be able to find out about you. But more traditional reasons for blocking other bots might include because not wanting to have your information gathered. So you can block any of the major SEO tools from your website quite easily. There's Moz, Hrefs, Semrush. You can block them, usually in robots.txt. And the big flaw of this is that blocking crawlers from your website relies on the people who operate the crawlers from adhering to their scouts on a promise that they won't crawl your website if you ask them not to. This is a problem because the bad actors, the people who are up to no good in the world of crawling the web, ain't going to pay any attention to your robots.txt. So there's just a brief intro into crawling, not crawling. My personal opinion is just open up your website, let anyone who wants to crawl it. But that's a topic for another time, kind of. Because I'm now going to talk about whether you should block AI from crawling your website. So again, another bit of background. Chat models, sorry, camera's going wonky now. Chat models, most notably Chat AI, learn by looking around the web, seeing what's out there. That's how they gather their data. Although famously, if you're on the free version of ChatGPT, which is 3.5, you're potentially looking at data that's now out of date. So why would you want to block them? Well, maybe you don't want to risk your content being repurposed somewhere else. Because if I'm going to stop having to pick on OpenAI here, but if a AI crawler gathers information from your website, there's potentially a chance that a user somewhere else in the world who asks the chatbot to write an article, they might be regurgitating some of yours. Incidentally, here at SEO, every article we write, we run through Copyscape, which is a plagiarism checker. So even if we write it ourselves, we just want to make really sure we're not just regurgitating someone else's. So that's something that could be happening. Your work could be repurposed and churned out somewhere else. I mean, I think it's pretty unlikely. The web is a very big place, and if you're really concerned about people nicking your content, you might need to get over yourself a bit, because unless you genuinely are the leading expert or the most authoritative genius on any topic you're writing about, you're probably fairly safe from having your content nicked, because it'll be nicked from other people. But I'm also not saying be rubbish online. That's not a good defense. So what other reasons might you block AI? Well, just privacy, if you just don't want to be a part of the AI revolution. And at this stage, I respect the fact that some people really don't want to be. But let's look at the reasons not to block it, the reasons just to leave your web open to being crawled. One thing is brand awareness. If you are providing the answers to problems that people have, or have good, helpful information on your website, then why not let Chat AI tell people where they found the answer? Incidentally, that is a really good thing to do if you're using ChatGPT or any of the others. If you're given an answer, just type "prove it," or click the funny little arrow link that comes up in chat results, in chat outputs. So it could become, allowing your content to be crawled could become a good source of traffic, because at some point, all the chat models are going to start acting as search engines. None of them claim to be search engines yet, apart from Bing, I guess, which is just using ChatGPT. But at some point, there's going to become chat models that are marketing themselves as search engines. The closest we've had so far is, I announced a couple of days ago that Brave, which is a browser, Brave browser, is implementing AI search functionality. I mean, it's almost inevitable. So if you block your website and all these AIs aren't gathering information about your site, when they start acting more overtly as a search engine, they could potentially leave you out. Could be like being left out of Google now. So there's one reason. Another reason is that at the moment, the threat of your information being sucked into AI and given out to somebody else, I've just not really seen any evidence for that. It's a fear and it's legitimate to look into these things, but I've not seen any evidence that that is definitely a thing. Another argument for allowing AI to scan your site and crawl it is just that if it is going to be a very positive force for mankind, then perhaps allowing your data to be crawled is just the little small part you have in building a better version of the internet. I'm going to link to a Moz article that partly inspired this episode that goes into a lot more pros and cons. And I'm going to link to that in the show notes, and I recommend reading it. For now, I'm still not sure I'm the right person to add this much comment on AI, but we need to discuss these things. These things need to be talked about. I was at a conference on Thursday and Friday last week in Liverpool, BizX conference, which I'll probably also link to. It's from ActionCoach, so I'll drop that link in. And we saw a very good 2-hour-long sort of presentation, workshop, question-answer session from someone called Piers Linney. And he raised some very interesting things about AI and why, if you're not adopting now, potentially you could be like those companies that it took until about 2005, 2010 for them to build a website. You could just be left behind and playing catch up. There's a lot to learn here, and we are at a cutting edge. We are, as Piers Linney said, and many other people have said, we are at the point in history where AI is at its worst, is at its naffest. This is just the start. So, should you block AI from crawling your website? Probably not. It's up to you, though. At the moment, we're just making up the rules and adapting as we go along. I'd really like to know what you think about blocking AI. So please do comment. Please email me through yeseo.io or find me on LinkedIn. Thank you for listening. I shall see you and speak to you tomorrow. Oh.